Hey, it's George G from Lifeblood. Thanks for taking a moment to join me talking about this super important topic that is super hard for us human beings to get our brains around. And when I say us human beings, I mean certainly myself personally. Talking about goal setting, I think that we all intellectually know that we're supposed to have goals, we're supposed to set them, we're supposed to write them down, we're supposed to talk about them with other people. I resisted doing that. When I say resisted, I really didn't do it until I was about 35 years old. So it took me a long time to finally get around to actually thinking about my goals, actually writing them down, actually share them with people. Now, since doing that, it's been about 8 years, give or take, I can tell you that it's had a profoundly positive impact on my life. So I really enjoy talking about goal setting. I like to talk about the importance of it, the impact that it can have, but most importantly, I'd like to talk about how you actually can do it correctly so that the goals that you set, the time that you take, it's actually going to result in you getting those things done and accomplishing them. So that's what I want to talk about as a framework that I've worked on and thought about a lot, and it's helped me and a lot of other people to correctly think about goals, correctly set goals, and then actually follow through and achieve them. So let's just go ahead and get started with them. I think that our ability, our human ability to think about our future, but more importantly, to create the future that we want to create is a legitimate superpower. Think about it. There's no other creatures or animals or anything else on the planet that we're aware of that can sit down and say, okay, here's what I want tomorrow, here's what I want 10 years from now, here's what I want 40 years from now, and then to actually take inspired action and to make that the reality. So it's a pretty amazing thing that we're able to do. We can harness that, we can actually do it and make it a reality. It's such a powerful thing. Now, I think that the way we've been taught and the way we think we're supposed to do goals is almost completely backwards. You say, okay, what are your goals? You're like, I guess I want to be successful. I want to be healthy. I want to make money. I want to, have a family and do that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, great. So write those down. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for the majority of us to actually be successful with goal setting. We need a lot more. And when we do it, when I say we do it the opposite way, we say, okay, so I want to start my own business. And once I start my own business, wow, stuff's going to be awesome then. Then I'm going to feel like I'm happy and successful. Or you say, I really want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, great. When I do that, when I actually drop the 20 pounds, then I'm going to feel great about myself. I want to have a relationship, buy a house. Okay, so once you've got the spouse, once you've got a home, you've got a car, you've got a great job, then you'll be happy? Yeah, correct. Then I'll be happy. All right. So we could spend a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years trying to achieve that goal, and we're not going to be happy until we get there? That doesn't sound right. And what if we don't get there? Then we're never going to be happy? Well, that sounds like it sucks, and I think that it does. So I think that we want to switch that around. We want to say, okay, how do I want to feel? And when I can identify what really gets me excited, what really lights me up, that's an indication that I'm getting pretty close to what's most important to me, and I should set goals around that. For example, if I say, you know what do I think about? How do I feel when I hear good dad? Well, for me, I've got 2 kids, and I say, that's pretty powerful to me because I want to be a good dad. So that's important. So I should set goals around that. You say, how do you feel when you hear impact? Like, well, I definitely want to have an impact. I work hard to have a positive impact in the lives of the people that I serve. So impact is important to me. So I should set goals around that. Do you see what I'm getting at? You say strong and healthy and vibrant. Yeah, those are important to me for sure. I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want to be energetic and vibrant. Well, then we should set goals around that because that's clearly an important thing. So like to take people through just a word association exercise. And you think about that and you start going through the main areas I think that are most important to people. And I like to talk about 6 areas. I talk about it a lot. Talk about family, community, career and money, well-being. So your physical, your mental, your spiritual health. Talk about personal development. So learning just for the sake of learning. And last, peace of mind. So in each one of those sort of broad areas, really encourage you to go through and think about, okay, when it comes to family, what is inspiring to me? Say, being a good parent, being a good partner, being somebody that my kids look up to, whatever that might be. So sort of go through there and try to find what really makes you sort of sit up and kind of take notice. And then go through that with each one. So just really quickly, community. The famous Harvard Grant study proved that the most important thing, keys to a happy and rich, successful life, are our connection to other people. So having a good, strong community is a really, really important thing. So maybe you want to be a good neighbor. Maybe when you hear that, you're like, yeah, I definitely want to do that. Or you say community leader. Or you say there's an alumni association, you say president or leader of a different group. You say, yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. And then build goals around that. And then from a money and a career standpoint, well, that's an enormous one right there. But a rewarding career, impact, affluent, good investor. Which of those sort of resonate with you? And then from a well-being perspective, strong, vibrant, healthy, energetic, well-adjusted, mentally tough, gritty, those kinds of things. What really jumps off the page from a self or personal development standpoint, just try to figure out lifelong learner. How does that sound? Well-read, educated, smart. So any of those really inspire something in you. And then from a peace of mind standpoint, it is grounded, reflective, at peace, content. If those really excite you in some form or fashion, let's build some goals around that. So it's a function of trying to figure out first, how do I want to feel about something? What are the feelings I really want to have? Because you can do whatever you want. That's probably should have led with that. With your ability to create the future you want, that means you can create whatever life you want. That's the idea here. Figure out what it is that you want and then correctly build goals around what you want. And then our chances of really getting there are just amplified greatly. So really, what is it that you truly want? And then figure out, let's put that through some additional steps. There is a business application called the 5 Whys. I think it's part of 6 Sigma, and it's just a matter of trying to really get to the bottom of and solve problems. But I think it's a really applicable and great tool. So let's just use an example. Let's say that going back to the fact that I want to be a good dad, and just for the record, I'm a pretty good dad, certainly doing my best. Good dad. Say, okay, George, why do you want to be a good dad? Well, I'm interested in raising independent, good citizens. Great. Why do you want to raise independent kids, citizens? Well, I want them to be contributors to the world. I want them to have good lives. All right. Well, why do you want them to be able to contribute to the world? Well, I guess maybe jumped ahead a little bit. It's because I do want them to have good lives. Well, why do you want your kids to have good lives? Well, I want them to have good lives so that not only are they happy, but then they can also contribute and they can add. Whatever they choose to be working on, I want them to be able to advance and add to humanity. Great. Why do you want them to be able to add to humanity? Because I want the world to be a better place. Okay. So whatever it is that you want to be vibrant, be a good parent, to be a leader in your community, why? And I think that you'll really solidify as to, you know what, is this something I really want? Or is this just something I sort of thought that I wanted, but now maybe I'm not sure about that. So, and then from there, we can actually then think about goals, because hopefully we have attached meaning to, or rather attached feeling and identify the areas that are of the greatest importance to you, and then build goals around that. So each one of those 6 areas, again, family. Say, what are your goals for your family? Well, I've been talking about being a good dad for a long time, so I'm interested in doing that. And that's more of a desire than it is a goal. So a good goal for that area might be to be able to spend one-on-one time with my kids, at least whatever it might be, every day, once a week. Everybody's situation is a little bit different. If it's my desire to have a great relationship with my wife Emily, a goal there would be to have a date night once a month or once a week, whatever it might be. So going through the 6 different areas, I really want you to think about, clarify, crystallize what you want your goals to be. And before I go any further, we have within on lifeblood.live, we've got a free goals course, which will essentially walk you through the steps that I'm going through right now, but you can get access to that at no cost. And so if you do want to dig deeper into this, I know that I'm going through a lot, but so we go through each of the 6 areas: family, community, career and finance, well-being, personal development, and then peace of mind. And think about, what do I want? What are good and appropriate goals to be writing down? And then make sure that we are using that SMART framework. So make sure that the goal is specific. Is it a specific goal? My goal is to be a healthy person. Okay, that's pretty specific, somewhat. Is it measurable? Well, okay. So in the context of me, perhaps I want to lose 20 pounds. That's very measurable. Is it attainable? Is this an attainable goal? Can I lose 20 pounds? Yeah, I can certainly lose 20 pounds. Is it a relevant goal? Yeah, it's definitely relevant to my desire to be a healthy and a vibrant person, and it's aligned to everything else that I want, to be a good dad and all those things. And then can I put a deadline on it? So time. Say, okay, well, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to do that in the next 3 months. And again, we're just going through an example. So that is a good framework for helping you to set goals. And then I want you to take it one step further and really then think about time horizon. And I know within each one of these goals, we are setting a time horizon for the specific action. But one of your goals could be to be financially successful. And that's a giant goal, and it's going to have lots of different sub-goals. And when we talk about being financially successful, I think that you really want to be cognizant of the different time horizons that we're focused on. It's been said that we as human beings have a tendency to overestimate what we can get done in 1 year and underestimate what we can get done in 3 years. Think about that for a second. Can I get something done in a year? Yeah, I can get a lot done. But can I get all of it done in 3 years? Just about. Could I lose 100 pounds in a year? Maybe. Could I lose 100 pounds in 3 years? For sure. And then my life is totally different. Could I be debt-free in a year? Maybe. Could I be totally debt-free in 3 years? Probably. My life could be totally different in 3 years. I could get started on that in 1 year, but really frame things out. And I think considering time horizon, starting with that 3 years, and I'll circle back on that in just a second. But we want to have short-term goals, we need to have midterm goals, we want to have long-term goals. And those are very, very general categories, but when I talk about short-term, it's really 1 to 3 years, okay? Midterm is 3 years to 10 years, and then long-term is 10 years plus. So we'll stick to personal finance stuff. Long-term goals are commonly things like retirement planning. So that's, I'm saving for my future self. It's super abstract, but I know that if I start putting money away today, it's going to take less money to actually achieve the goals that I want to long-term. So having long-term goals, then you want to have midterm goals, which are obviously closer. Common financial midterm goals are, you want to help a kid with their educational expenses. You want to save for the down payment on a home, stuff like that. And then short-term goals are, I want to properly fund my emergency fund. I want to be able to take annual vacations. Maybe I want to buy a house this year. Whatever it might be. I want to get out of debt. I want to be able to donate money to different organizations. So those are things that I really want you to be thinking about. Coming back to that 1 versus 3. What I want you to do is to figure out what all your goals are, but then figure out what you need to be doing over the next 3 years to make those your reality. Because here's the thing. If you win the next 3 years, like if you do everything you need to be on track to meet the short, mid, and long-term goals, well, then I can almost guarantee you'll win the next 3 years after that, because you'll be in the habit. You'll have the new patterns of success, doing things the right way. You'll win the 3 years after that and the 3 years after that. And that's the trick here. So we want to make these sustainable. The last thing I want is for you to be yo-yoing back and forth. And every year on New Year's, it's, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, if you're quitting smoking and losing 20 pounds every year and you do it, but then you start doing it again, well, that sucks. That's not a reality that I want for you or for anybody else. We need to make these real. We need to make them sustainable. And that's where recognizing what our patterns are. What are our current patterns? Because we all have them. You've got patterns for the way that you wake up and you go to bed. You've got patterns for the food that you eat and how you eat it. You've got patterns for the way that you exercise. You've got patterns for the way that you cope with stress and adversity and all these things. And either you have winning patterns or you've got patterns that are keeping you stuck. I don't want to call them losing patterns because, you're doing what you're doing and it's pretty good, I bet. But if you are wanting more, if you're wanting to get better, then we need to really assess what your current patterns are. Are these going to get you to that next level? Are they going to help you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? And I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So we want to create goals. If we actually want to achieve them, it might take some changes. So pay attention to your patterns. Specifically, most importantly, when things do not go your way, how do you respond? And then think about somebody like whoever your famous or favorite famous person is. Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, whatever, Sarah Blakely, Oprah Winfrey. When things don't go their way, how do you think that they respond? Does Jeff Bezos Netflix and chill for 4 hours? Does he get drunk? Does he do retail therapy? Probably not. He probably has very specific ways with which he copes with and manages through when things don't go his way. So why should that be any different than you? So take notice of how you respond, how you act when things don't go your way. And then think, okay, next time, here's what I'm going to do. When things don't go my way, maybe I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to whatever. These are yours. Just trying to give you some ideas on replacing a negative behavior with a positive behavior that's going to get you to where you want to go. So what I want for you also is to make this real, and really want to encourage you to go through this process of doing the word association, really finding the things that really light you up, figuring out what those are, figuring out, going through the 5 whys and figuring out, is this really that important to me? And then actually setting goals in those 6 key areas, using the SMART framework to make sure that we're setting appropriate goals, thinking about it in terms of time horizon, short, mid-term, and long-term, and then think about what I need to be doing immediately over the next 3 years to win those 3 years. So it might take you quite a long time. It could take you a short amount of time, especially if you're in the habit of already setting goals, but you want to get better at it. And so it's a function of, or a matter of, or figure out, here's when I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on Saturday at 10 a.m. Awesome. What do you normally do at Saturday at 10? Well, that's when I spend time with my kids. Okay, well, that's not going to work then. We need to find a time that is not going to conflict with something that's important. It's also not going to get bumped. So maybe you need to get up a little earlier on Saturday morning and actually schedule it in. That's what I want you to do. I want you to actually schedule it in and go through everything, put your plan together, cast your vision for what you want the future to be, and then get started. Success is absolutely available to you. You deserve the success that you want. Just got to clarify what it is that you want and then get to work on it. Go to lifeblood.live and access that free goals course, and take advantage of it. I think it could have a big impact on your life. Thanks a lot.